who gets you near it. You could always fall to wonder things. We condemn, we can do it, we can do it. Don't stay in a bad place where they don't care how you are.
All my albums are negative. I think possible to take any one of my albums and think of it as prescient if you were to listen to it after September 11th. But I think that's the subject matter that I deal with. The content of most of what I write there's been a continuity of alienation and isolation throughout everything I've written. So if there is one thing that I talk about, it's these slightly negative kinds of thoughts. If anything, this new album is a little less negative than some of the others that I've written. And that's because of my newly acquired status as parent. With the paintings themselves, there was some degree of damage done to the paintings on the cover. And I wanted to illustrate the subtext of the word heathen being barbarian or Philistine, non-acceptance of culture or high culture, a wish to destroy everything that we have created to express ourselves. And the three names on the books, the three books in fact, were very important in as much as The Gay Science, for instance, by Nietzsche, was the book in which he said God is dead. Which was a culmination of all the thought of the previous century, the late 19th century. There was people were so aggrandized with their own sense of science and the aftermath of the Enlightenment and how man himself could improve the world. Then, of course, it led to things like Nietzsche saying God is dead, and it led to Einstein's discovery that time and space aren't what we thought they were, and Freud an understanding of another kind of human inside the human. All these things culminated in the idea that everything we'd known before was wrong. Everything. So we start out the 20th century with this clean slate. We are now the gods. And the greatest thing that we could do as God during that century was create the bomb. That was what we were good at doing. And I think that in itself, in the 50s and 60s, the repercussions of what we had done by standing in for this idea of morality, ourselves, creating it all ourselves, so destroyed our fix on what we should be doing in life that we're still living through that chaos right now. We have no spiritual lives to speak of. There's quasi-new religions, but there is no direct sense of what our purpose is anymore. Now, that may be a good thing, because it may show itself to be that we in fact don't have a purpose. Are we big enough and mature enough to exist like that? Are we mature enough to accept that there's no plan, there's no going somewhere, there's no gift of immortality at the end of this if we evolve? If we evolve far enough, we may never have to die. I mean, that seems to be the reach from the past. Well, maybe we can't live like that. Maybe we have to exist and live on the idea that we have one day at a time to live. And can we do that? Because if we could do that, we may be serving some great thing. None of us learned. I mean, we're all of us learning to get old. It's the first time we've ever done it. I'm not doing it again. I guess, you know, people naturally like to make some hierarchical sense of things, so, you know, some of us were doing things a lot earlier. I don't know. I mean, I like Tiepolo, I like Michelangelo and Rembrandt, but it doesn't mean that I don't also enjoy and find very sustaining modern artists from this century. I think you have to be equitable. I think you have to have some degree of sharing about the arts, and I think you can use the arts. Okay, coming back to rock and roll, I think it's okay to listen to the Beatles, but I think it's also very important to listen to, say, The Streets, a brand new band on the English scene right now. And we can only learn from our mistakes. Well, I'd like to believe that we can only learn from our mistakes, although I don't really think that will happen.
Est-ce que ça s'apprend d'être rockstar?
In my case, yes. It took me a very long time.
Merci beaucoup.
Oh, it's my pleasure.